All right. Let's see. Can you hear me now? Awesome. Yes, I love it. All right. So, welcome to the live. Welcome on this evening. This is Dr. Kimberly L. Jefferson of Align with Dr. Kim, where we heal from burnout so we can create balance and express ourselves to the fullest ability of our brilliance and our well being. This is another episode of Embracing Brilliance. So, I know you've got extensive goals, and I am specifically talking to the introverted, overwhelmed woman of faith. Not that you always in overwhelmed, but you seem to be a little, sometimes you can get a little hesitant about going forward in your goals. And we're going to address that on tonight. If you've got big, ambitious goals and you know it's going to be challenging for you going into the new year, and that's something you want support with, that's something you want to talk through and gain some resources to help you go through that all the way, you are in the right place. Welcome to the live. Go ahead and comment below letting me know that you're here. Say hello. I do respond to your messages, I do read them, and it would be remiss of me to not greet you in the comments here as well. So I believe that community happens in the comments. So one of the questions that I have been asking about is, what concerns you the most about setting your goals, especially if it's something that really scares you. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have some big, hairy or big, scary goals. They call them big, hairy goals, or big, heavy goals. Things that will challenge you to become a new person, things that will challenge you to come out of the places that you have been in the past. We want to challenge you on this evening to conquer those fears and to move right past them. So we're going to start here. I'm gonna go to my next slide. I'm gonna start off with a question here on tonight as well. And this is one of the best ways that I have discovered to really get to the source of a thing is to do some self-questioning. And the question on tonight is, what are you really afraid of? Before we can conquer a fear, we need to understand what it is and where it comes from. So I want to zoom out here. I'm going to come back to my screen, but I want to make sure you see me because to I want to say this to you face to face. So when we set our goals and there's something that's very scary about it and it kind of cringes us a little bit, that means you're in a good place because you're challenging yourself to grow. Anytime there's a fear or some type of resistance with a goal, you're just know that it's normal. Know that it's not the world coming against you, but it's causing you to face your internal battles. It's causing you to face internal struggles that were dormant before you started moving. And it's not that it's a barrier, but it's more of an opportunity for you to develop your skill sets, for you to grow your capabilities, to explore your potential and go into the next level of things. And for some people, that's exciting. You have some people that they go after a goal, they bite off big more than they can chew, and the stress of it just excites them. And people like that can sometimes be addicted to stress and working and things like that, but that's okay if that's what they're motivated by, as long as it's not draining you of life and energy. Shout out to those people. Hey, how you doing? Hey, Miss J, healing and growth. Yes, 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 yes. That is going to expose you to areas that you do need to heal in as well when it's time to elevate, when it's time to grow. I'm excited to see you on the live. We were in a vision board party yesterday and it was phenomenal. Just the process of making the board kind of had me a little scared because I had thoughts and ideas and things on my board. And I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna get that right now. But it wasn't because I was focused on the how. It's important to give yourself space to dream, right? Hi. Hey Deetra, hi, welcome to the live. Good to see you. It's important to give yourself space to dream so you can give yourself the room to do that. That's the problem when we let fear stops us, right? When we let some form of resistance, meaning anything that comes against where you're trying to move forward to, whether it's internal, whether it's something or someone outside of you, whether it's old emotions coming up, all of those type of things that can cause us to kind of I'll say it as a hindrance into the things that we are trying to do. And we can remove those barriers when we are focused on growing, when we are focused on going forward in those things. The fear will keep you from the life that is promised to you. And I know if you're somebody who has experienced stress and burnout, you're looking at the fact that, oh, wow, I want to accomplish these huge things, but I don't want to do it with the burnout. I don't want to stress myself out. You know, you have some patterns and some things that you consistently do after each and every project or during every project that can slow you down. We're going to talk about some ways to overcome that on tonight as well. So first off, we want to identify what the true fear is. Let's go back to our slide. We want to identify what are we really afraid of? Because when you can name a thing, you have better control over it. It no longer floats in your brain, taking up all kinds of space. You can face it head on. You're not avoiding the issue, you're not avoiding your emotions. And sometimes I know in the past when I have just gotten things out of my mind, I was like, wow, this is really what I've been afraid of. This is something that's so small. So we're able to give it an objective view. We're able to come outside of it so that way we can look at it in its entirety of what we are afraid of. And so we can actually seek truth about it. So I love this question of what are you really afraid of, to explore, what's getting in the way? Why do I keep hesitating against this goal? Okay, she said, I am fearful of doing things alone. Oh, that's a big one. That is a valid fear. It is. And we're going to talk about some ways to reframe your fear, because the fear is based upon the story that you are telling yourself, the narrative that you are telling yourself. When we start to tell our brains a different story, we can start to act in a different way. We can do a different response to it as well. So I'm hoping you can give yourself some grace and compassion on tonight. And I'm here in the comments as well. I can see you over here chatting as well. So I will be answering those comments and chiming in with you periodically here as well. So that's out in the open. What is it that we are really afraid of? Let me go to the next slide here. So when we identify our fears, let me come back in. When we identify our fears, it sets us apart from them so we can objectively take a look at it. Everything that we want is on the other side of that fear, right? Yes, it is. The letting it become like a barricade between you and what you want will increase your stress. It will increase your depression. It will increase your let me just say it like this. It'll cause you not to see how truly blessed and capable you are when we remain on that side of fear versus taking the steps toward it. So some other common fears. Okay, we got one more. Gotcha. So Deidre said, I'm fearful of success, achieving my goals as I've committed self-sabotage when I was closing in on goals in the past. Oh my gosh. Yes, that is a very common one of people who are high achievers. Sometimes it's not that we're fearful that we'll fail in a thing. It's we're fearful that we'll win in a thing because I'm getting into it early, but I was going to go through the fear of failure first. But let's go into it. So the fear of success. Fear of success means we are looking at the changes that will happen on the other side of this. We are looking at all of the new responsibilities that will start to come in with that. Hey, Fab, we're looking at all of the responsibilities that come with getting that thing actually coming to the of it and actually receiving it. And it's like your brain starts to trigger yourself like, oh my God, what am I going to do? It's like you start to get 20 steps ahead of yourself and you've only taken 5, right? So one of the things that I found to reframe my thinking, and that means telling yourself a new story, like all of it that I just said was a story, and you probably identify with it. It's like I didn't realize that I was nervous about the changes. But when we start to realize that you are capable and you start to believe in your capabilities, you're no longer fearful of success, but you will become curious about success. You will start to switch it out because now you can rest in the fact that you're moving forward in curiosity and you're moving forward in exploring your capabilities. When we start to do the sabotage dance versus, working in partnership with ourselves, those type of things will really cause us to stay stuck. And I just told you, definitely a way that you can try. So try switching it out as well. Instead of looking at, okay, this is going to cause me to get this, it's exploring our capabilities. And it becomes lighter. It becomes more fun in that way when you begin to become curious about your capabilities. And there's always support as well. And doing things alone, there are always people that you can invite in on the journey. Safe people. I said this in another live. We are dealing with safe people all 2025. People that we can trust, people that have shown us that we can lean on and depend upon them, and that they have similar goals to us as well. So doing things alone, we can always be supported with that. We can always learn to understand what our own energy feels like. That's another thing with exploring your capabilities and how fun it is. You can start to explore what feels good for you, because you may find that you like it. You may find that it's fun. So Dietrich said, curiosity, never looked at it that way. I know, right? There is something so powerful. And this is the fact that there is a fear of success means that your brain is already going in the direction of positivity because you see a gain. You see it coming towards you. And I'm going to talk about Gay Hendricks here. He's the one who did the big leap. We have to expand our minds in how good we believe things can get for us. That will open up an entire world when you just consider, wow, how good can things really get for me? How much goodness am I willing to allow into my life? Because growing up, our brains and sometimes the environments that we have grown up in or were raised in or we were taught in is that I got to prepare for the worst. I got to be prepared in case this happens. And you have learned that. And a way to start unlearning it is to start becoming curious, more and more curious about, letting in the good and all the good that it will bring. So you're going in the right direction with things. Even with the thoughts of going at things alone. I'm trying to find your comment. Beautiful. Here you go. You said, I'm fearful of doing things alone. The fact that you are thinking about doing things is powerful. You're already going in a positive direction. But the obstacle is being alone. So that's where, and this is why I say there are some mindfulness techniques that can help too. I'm jumping so far ahead. But I'm going to stop here and say that doing those journaling activities, like I said, what is it that I really am fearful about of being alone? And when you look at that, you will get even more clues as to, okay, let me become curious about this. What can be fun about me being alone? I don't have to worry about somebody interrupting me. I can enjoy the scenery on my self-love date by myself. I can take pictures. I can stay in this spot as long as I want. Nobody's going to pull me away from what I have to do. All of those type of things. So it's like telling yourself a different story and reframing it, right? Those are some powerful points that we can do. She said having high expectations of God was one of our sermons a week ago. See, that's confirmation right there. Having high expectations. How much God, how good can this really get for me? This is amazing. And when you start exploring, life becomes juicy. It just becomes juicy, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, this is just going to be so good. It's all about the story you tell yourself. I am all for being your own hype woman, okay? Or if men are listening to this, being your hype man. So those are the things that make going after the goal more fun. And you shifted in your, not just your mentality, but you've shifted your emotions as well. And it becomes something that you actually want to pursue. Teacher said, wow, how much goodness am I willing to allow in my life? Yes. How much goodness are you willing to allow in? That was one of the most powerful things that I learned is when the whole sabotage thing tries to come up, because you really, it's you being on, and not you as in you, teacher, but all of us who have been in that place. It's really you learning how to be more compassionate and kind towards yourself versus trying to go into protection mode or overprotection mode. And you really communicate to yourself that this is something safe for me to do. This is something enjoyable for me to do. Yes, more. I want more of these things. I want more goodness. I want more experiences to enjoy these things. And you start to see more opportunities than obstacles when you start to reframe. I hope that has been helpful to you. I had a few more as well. So I talked about fear of success. We even talked about fear of being alone. There's another one of fear of the unknown. So when we start to address the fear of things that are unknown, it's us facing that uncertainty. So it's like, how do we deal with uncertainty? How have we dealt with it in the past? And how can we deal with navigating into uncharted territory? This is not something that I know how to do. I'm unsure of myself. And that's when you start to reverse it. Instead of saying, I'm unsure of myself, I'm sure I can learn. This is my opportunity to explore. So being able to reframe and tell yourself a different story, just looking at it that way will open up so many doors to your mind. I'm looking to explore my capabilities in this. I am looking to explore how well I can do in something. We look at what good can come of something versus being prepared for the worst. That's how you let in something. That's how you walk into your yes. We can say yes on a vision board. We can say yes on a piece of paper, on a list, in conversations all day. But if we never take the steps into it, it's really just a frustrating thought that stays in our mind. And that's not where we're going. We're conquering these things, we're overcoming them so we can move into that conquered territory, not uncharted, but it's an entire adventure waiting for us. Everything that we want wants us even more. I truly believe that. And I just want to share that with you as well, challenge you with that. So we talked about identifying some fears. The next part that I wanted to tell you about, I got my little slide here. I got to be able to move through that. Overcoming the resistance. Oh my goodness. So the resistance, the things that come up, the self-sabotage, we already talked about how to come out of it. You can still do it with just reframing the narrative in your mind and the things that you tell yourself. Let's check in. Hey, therapist Jessica Renee. I got to call you too. Jessica said, become curious. I like that. Yes, 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 yes. Hey, hey. Still my favorite chiropractor. Hello. Welcome to the live. So, overcoming resistance. I wanted to share a statistic about how high achievers overcome resistance. And this was even shocking to me. So, according to research from the Harvard Business Review, 70%, 7 out of 10, 70% of high achieving individuals experienced imposter syndrome. That's nothing new. We know that imposter syndrome, yet they use it as a motivator to continue to push their limits. People want to conquer their limits when they are looking to expand, when they are looking to bring things into their lifestyle, into their experience, when they're looking to accomplish a goal. A motivated and a person who knows what they want will start to challenge those limits within themselves. So you reframe your narrative and you start to challenge those limits. So imposter syndrome is like a part of your ego, your makeup in your mind telling you that you're not enough, you don't deserve this thing, you're not who you really say you are, and they're going to find out who you are, and they're going to, come and get you. It's like this negative committee or this negative person that meets inside your head. It's really a consequence of negative self-talk. So that's where it comes from, where it's birthed out of just this inner dialogue that you have had with yourself because you haven't had enough positive inner dialogue. We have to continue to rehearse the positivity in our lives consistently over and over and over again. So a high achieving person will look at that, okay, this imposter syndrome, which is just a negative thought train, this negative thought train will be there, but I will always be here to affirm myself, to validate myself, and to empower myself into moving beyond the limits that I think is beyond the limits that I think that are alive or well or going forward. What I'm trying to say. So challenging those limits and pushing past them, being in a place where you can be open to the abundance that is for you is another way that you shift your mind with it. It's like, you know what? Instead of me questioning myself, I affirm myself that I do deserve this. I work really hard and I deserve this. And even when we're in our value journey and becoming on the journey of understanding our self-worth, we start to understand that we have inherent value. It means it comes pre-installed. I'm gonna say that again. The value already came pre-installed in you. The worth already was pre-installed in you. It's inherent. God already gave it to you. The fact that God thought about you and you were the sperm cell that made it, that united with the egg. Do you know how many processes that people have to go through to be born? I think it was Neil deGrasse who said you have a better chance of not being born than actually being born because of all of the processes that have to happen in order for us to come into life and to come into it whole and well. No disabilities or no shade to people who do have that, because their existence is worthy as well. But the fact that we exist, we are worthy. And so coming into your value journey, understanding that I already have worth, it makes the goal even sweeter, because the ambitious goal doesn't become something that you are trying to run toward. It merely is a reflection of who you're becoming. That ambitious goal becomes a reflection of you versus something that you're trying to target and reach out and go get, when you understand that your value is inherent. And that's for my people, those of us who attach our goals and our worth to one another. We can detach those things when we understand that we are already worthy. All right, I want to check in. Hey, Pastor Crystal. I am so glad you are tuning in. Welcome to the live. Deidre said exactly, negative committee in the mind. Yes, the inner dialogue. That truly, that's what that imposter syndrome is. It's just a negative committee in your head that meets because they're waiting for you to be like, okay, you in authority. Okay, we don't have to meet here. We just gathered here, but you have the power to interrupt them because it's all in your mind. Deidre said, affirm, validate, and challenge myself. Yes, 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 yes. Deidre just having church in the comments. I love it. She said, amen. Let me pass the collection plate. No, I'm just playing. No collection plate here. I really want to challenge you all to reaffirm yourself and to change the dialogue, change the narrative in your mind as well. So that was a statistic about using how you can use that as fuel for your journey and what you're going forward in. The next one that I wanted to share with you after overcoming the resistance is we develop a growth mindset. So developing a growth mindset means that instead of looking at things as obstacles, you look at them as opportunities, just like we just said. The opportunity versus the obstacle in a thing is when you're able to see forward when everyone else around you is looking behind, when everyone else is looking off to the side. There's a version of that that's also an indicator that you have a great level of self-leadership. We can be in a position to lead other people, but if we are not leading ourselves, and if we're high achieving people, that is a skill set that we have to learn and that we can grow in, is being a great leader of ourselves, meaning we manage our emotions well, we manage our mindset well, we manage our time well, we manage our energy well also with everything. So going forward with that, we also want to make sure that when we are looking at the opportunities that are coming in, that we are taking it in from a place of confidence, knowing that, I am going to fully do everything within my power to get past this point or to go over this certain thing. And when you're able to give it your all, you're able to make small steps to go forward in that thing, it really helps you to overcome it, right? Now, there are certain resources that we go to as well to help us with this. Like there are certain communities that we go in to get a growth mindset. Of course, you can read the books about having a growth mindset, but I find that, making sure when you are looking at your goals that you give yourself the opportunity to grow as a person. So it's not just your mindset, but it's also your skill set that is going to grow. And I know we're talking about perception and the outlook, but you give yourself a level of self-compassion to understand that, hey, I am growing, I am learning. Everything is a learning opportunity. I'm not the expert at this. When you can be in a position that you're ready to explore and you know you're not the expert, but you're merely, not merely, my apologies, you are an expert learner versus an expert. There are so many things that you will just fly over. Your trajectory will change when you're moving forward in life, when you're conquering things, when you are putting yourself in positions to be seen, putting yourself in position to gain not only just a financial advantage, but also just a skill set advantage with the things that your networking skills will change. All of the all of the attributes and the characteristics that you need while you're in the journey of becoming will start to open to you when you start to invest in learning opportunities versus looking at all the problems. I remember when I was in my own clinic, and I actually had to give a speech at church one time when I first made it back to my home church. And I remember in that speech, I was talking about you have so many opportunities, that there are no obstacles, that was the way of getting out of the struggle, is was seeing the opportunities in a thing versus the obstacle. And I remember the exact moment. I remember how I felt in my body back in the clinic when all I was seeing was obstacles everywhere I turned. That's all I was seeing. And my regular way of responding was to try to find a solution to the obstacle. And I had to learn that I was outgrowing some things. So I wanted to say that as well. You don't have to be a catch and release person in life. Sometimes so many things are coming to you because you need to change your methods, or you are in a learning experience so you can learn, have hands-on experience, and teach other people about it. But the goal is not for you to faint. Because I remember how I felt at that time, and I was fainting. That's what happens when you experience burnout, is that you start to become extremely negative about all the things around you. Yeah, like the negative community goes just way up. It's like that's almost the only voice you hear. And you have this draining, hopeless feeling on the inside, and you start to question who you are and your capabilities and your competencies, all of those type of things that really sort of put your light out and dim you. So that's why we're having this conversation about that. I remember the moment when I felt about that and how I felt about it, and me understanding that that was a learning experience really helped to save my mind, I believe, from going into a point of deeper depression than where I was, is to learn from it so that way I could continue to move forward. And now here I am, six something, 7 years later, teaching other people about the things that I learned through this experience. So I am grateful for it as well. I want to check the comments again. Thank you. She said, "This is so good. I am so glad you enjoying it." Thank you so much for coming in. I am going to come off of this point. I don't want to be overly dependent on a slide or anything, but yeah, I am learning how to come in and out of the slides. Okay, Deidre, burnout was the reason I retired. I was tired of not doing what I knew I wanted to do. Oh gosh, and I bet the freedom you experienced when you finally said yes to what God had placed on the inside of you. And that is another amazing feeling. That's the thing that's on the other side of burnout, is the engagement and the excitement and the juiciness of the life that God has originally designed, well, not originally, but the thing that God made you for in that season, because we have so many different attributes to ourselves, and we're multifaceted, multi-gifted, multi-talented people. And there are certain seasons where God will be bringing things out of you and growing you in certain ways so you can shine in other seasons, right? It's always been in you. It's always been in you. I think about, yeah, Deidre takes some wonderful photos. Like, you can just tell that's like the thing that lights her up and gives her joy, because she gives you joy when you do it. But I'm always amazed at people when they say, when they talk about how they gave their yes and the wonderful things that happened to them. And I also think about all of the people that they serve and all of the people that were waiting for them when they were even in the burnout phase. All of the people that were waiting on their gift and who love and appreciate and enjoy their gift. That's the purpose of going after those ambitious goals. I want to encourage you and say, all of you all are remarkable people. And every time you take a step over an obstacle, you see it as an opportunity, you change the narrative in your head, you're just one step closer to the brilliant person that God made you to be. So this has been amazing. All smiles. I love it. All smiles, all joys. This is my joy as well, something that really causes me to be joyful. And we are dreaming like king. I wanted to show my shirt tonight. Dream like king. I have a dream. When you're able to see beyond the beyond, and you just know that you know that you know it's going to happen. Yes, those ambitious goals will help you in your confidence. Yes, you can take small steps to them. Big goals do require big steps, but each big step starts with a tiny small step, and there is support along the way as well. This is it for me. Okay, I'm reading the comments here. I never thought about the people who are waiting for me to do what I love. Thank you. You are so welcome. You are most welcome. Yes, all of you all. There is something. There is a group of people. There's a community of people that all of us have on the inside, because our gift and our calling is for those people. So those people are already in us with the things that we do. And we have been shadows of those people because of the journey that we're on. This is why not being so focused on the outcome, not being solely focused on the outcome, is a good thing. You want to enjoy the journey of becoming, because the person you are will be the person that you are. You are developing. Everything is about alignment and what you're agreeing with. And we're just trying to get to the yes. We want the yes. If it takes all of these different things for us to get to the yes and to all of the goodness that God has for us, so be it. It is worthy. Thank you all so much for listening and coming in tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you. I will be back again next Monday. This is Embracing Brilliance with Dr. Kim. I will see y'all in the next one.